All right, today we're going in-depth on front raises because I had fun with that last video. Taking hammer curls, which are already a decent exercise, and making them even better. Really tapped into the analytical side of my personality and reminded me of growing up and trying to find a way to get all my action figures to scissor with each other without one of them feeling left out. Needless to say, it was a little nostalgic. Also, who knew that asking people how they wipe their ass would be such a contentious topic? Not only that, I offended an entire demographic of people who are living the dream using a bidet. So I apologize for that. So when I get home, I'll ask my wife to get out the hose and see what it's like to live the high life. So when it comes to front raises, the one thing we got to be aware of is we're going to be constantly fighting those traps to try to keep them from getting involved. And you see this most often in people during the eccentric part of the movement. As they bring that weight down, that trap will engage and try to assist. And this is either because they can't keep that shoulder down, or they spent years flexing in the gym for no reason and they train their traps to do whatever the hell they want. And as long as we can negate that, then it's just about making small modifications to develop a better connection. Now, if you're somebody who constantly fights those traps, the first thing I would test is changing the angle of your body, because there's really only a small window where they can get involved. For instance, if your arm's straight out in front of you like it would be at the top of the movement, it's hard to flex those traps. But the closer it gets to your body, the easier it is to screw it up. So by tilting forward, you can take that part of the movement out of it completely. And if I'm gonna do that, it's gonna be leaning against a bench like this, because the last thing I wanna worry about is keeping my lower back from blowing up as I tilt forward, or trying to keep that sphincter tight, because the pre-workout I took before I came to the gym has now become a terrorist inside my colon. Also, what this allows us to do is test and see if there's a different path that will ultimately give us a better connection. So instead of coming straight up with that dumbbell, we can come out to the side in a sweeping motion, get more activation of the anterior delt as we pull that dumbbell in. On top of that, for those people with really crunchy shoulders, make sure you test between the supinated grip, neutral, and pronated grip, because one of those is going to lead to less sound effects. So one comment I could see people making is that you don't need to hit your anterior delts to get all the work they need during your pressing movements, which I can almost buy into. But last time I went to the gym, I looked around and realized there's very few people with great delts. More prevalent is people with non-existent rear delts and some development in those front delts, which probably makes them think that they have overdeveloped front delts, but they don't. They just have really, really shitty rear delts. So as much as I don't mind being an asshole and playing the heel, you never want to go full NWO. That's why as much as I like setting up a bench at a 45-degree angle, laying back and doing front raises on the cables, I don't often do them. And you can mimic the same thing by laying flat on the floor, but I've pissed off enough people in my life that I'm always on high alert for teabags. So instead, you can just simply face the opposite way of the cables. And yeah, this is when we're gonna tilt slightly forward, so you run the risk of blowing up that back, and you gotta keep that sphincter on lock. But if you pair it up with a handle like this, it's well worth it, because if you've ever taken a single dumbbell, gripped it with two hands and did a front raise, you know that's a phenomenal exercise. It really isolates that anterior delt, and this mimics that perfectly. Not just mimic, it's better. So this last one's my favorite barbell front raise, and I saw somebody do this a long time ago, not to this extreme because they're probably not as stupid as me, but the idea is to hit your entire delt. So you're gonna either grab a fixed bar or an easy bar and grab as wide as you can. That's gonna immediately engage more of that lateral head. And you start out by doing a front raise, and as you get close to the top of the movement, you're gonna pull back towards you, and that's gonna drive the contraction into that lateral head and finish it off in that rear delt. Quick side note, I know I look like an asshole, but these are the only 10s I have. If you haven't got a chance to check out the program, I'll leave a link in the description. It still amazes me how many sick individuals there are. And yeah, it's only 20 bucks, but you gotta be pretty messed up in the head to want to hurt yourself this bad for 30 days. So it's kind of nice that I'm not the only one. And if you like how in-depth I went on this video, then you're gonna love the hammer curl video I did recently. Also, if you need more help on shoulders, I'll link to a dumbbell-only shoulder video. But most importantly, share this video and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and get after it, get growing. Talk to you soon.